In A Song of Ice and Fire, love often leads to great tragedy. It almost never turns out well for any of the characters in the story, because whenever they find love, we can almost be assured that their passion will lead to doom.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
It is only the characters who do their duties and put love aside that live and thrive in the story. Those that choose love are almost always choosing death as well, as we know that their affections will often lead to chaos and disaster. Cersei is actually right when she tells Sansa that love is poison, a sweet poison, yes, but it will kill you all the same. In this video, I want to explore the wisdom of this statement by examining the fates of the characters who chose love over duty, and who better to start with than Rhaegar Targaryen. Rhaegar's choice of love for Lyanna over his duty to Elia is the reason why the Targaryen dynasty fell in the first place, ushering in the reign of Robert Baratheon. His love for Lyanna is essentially what led to Robert's rebellion and set the stage for the very story that we're reading today. For most stories, this sort of forbidden love would probably have a happy outcome, with a positive message about how love overcomes all things. But in A Song of Ice and Fire, it's a lesson on how choosing love over duty can often lead to war and chaos. Whether Rhaegar's relationship with Lyanna was true love or prophecy-driven obsession, it shows how choosing love over one's duty can destroy everything. Rhaegar abandoned his wife and his children for a girl he thought he loved, and as a result, he doomed his entire family and caused the collapse of an entire dynasty. In the end, his choice wasn't romantic or loving, it was selfish and reckless. If he had remained dutiful to his wife and children, Westeros would have remained stable, and many lives would have been spared. His family would still be alive, and the Targaryens would still rule. Him choosing love was stupid, but he isn't the only one who has made that mistake. Robb Stark was also guilty of making this fatal choice. Just like Rhaegar, Robb had a duty to marry a Frey girl, an oath that would have secured an important ally and maintained the loyalty of his other bannermen. His success in the South depended on him keeping this oath, and yet the young wolf let love cloud his judgment. On the show, he decides to marry a girl named Talissa, but in the book, this girl's name is Jane Westerling. The Westerlings are the bannermen of House Lannister, and Robb Stark falls in love with Jane after he storms her family's castle in the Crag. During the storming of the castle, Robb is injured, and Jane nurses him back to health, but he also finds out about the death of his brothers, and Jane is there to comfort him as he grieves. Robb develops feelings for her and decides to marry her, breaking his oath to House Frey and dooming his men to certain death. Even House Bolton turns their back on him for being an oathbreaker, and his fate is finally sealed during the Red Wedding, an event that leads to the death of him, his mother, his officers, and almost the entirety of his men.
Mother, the Lannisters send their regards.
Robb Stark chose love over his political duties, a decision that led to the end of his family and kingdom. Off of these two examples alone, it's clear that the takeaway from A Song of Ice and Fire is to never choose love over duty. Love leads to death, chaos, and war, while duty is what maintains peace and stability throughout the realm. All the characters who chose duty were able to survive hard times, keeping their honor and their heads along with it. A good example of this is with Maester AEMON, a man who chose his duty over the love that he had for his family, despite the horrible things he heard had happened to them. After the Lannisters sacked the city and killed Aerys, Maester AEMON could have abandoned his vows and tried to claim the throne, but instead he chose to stay at the wall and keep his oath.
I will not tell you to stay or go. You must make that choice yourself and live with it for the rest of your days. As I have.
As a result, Maester AEMON lived a long life at the war, contributing his mind towards defending the Seven Kingdoms against the threats that lurked beyond the war. He chose duty over love, unlike Jaime Lannister. Jaime chose love over duty, and it led to the War of the Five Kings. Instead of staying by his father's side and becoming the heir of Casterly Rock, Jaime chose his love for Cersei and followed her to King's Landing. Since they were children, Jaime and Cersei were always unnaturally close, engaging with one another romantically, and these feelings became so deep that they promised each other never to marry anyone else. Cersei even begged Jaime to follow her to King's Landing, and Jaime agreed, saying Cersei took him aside and whispered that Lord Tywin Lannister meant to marry him to Lysa Tully, had gone so far as to invite Lord Hoster to the city to discuss dower, but if Jaime took the white, he would be near her always. His love for Cersei made Jaime break his vows as a Kingsguard member, not only because he slept with a woman and fathered bastards on her, but also because it led to him killing the very same king he swore to protect. It made him destroy his honor, leaving him forever immortalized as the Kingslayer. Choosing love was his destruction. Choosing love over duty often leads to disaster in the story, making characters soil their honor or take actions that lead to war. It is a choice that leads to so much suffering overall, and yet so many characters still choose to embrace their passions over their oaths.
What is honor compared to a woman's love? And what is duty against the feel of a newborn son in your arms? Or a brother's smile?
Love is like a warm fire against the bitter chill of duty, and so many of these characters prefer the heat rather than the cold. But what do you think about choosing love over duty in the story? Do you think I'm wrong about love leading to destruction and war? Let me know down below in the comments section, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching this video. Love.